Pain User.
We're back for game number 3 between EGldra and dSeleCT here in the semifinals. Me and Pain User both are in absolute shock and awe at what happened in game number 2. I mean, what was EGldra thinking there as he left the game?
I don't know. I mean, say what you will about EGldra. Everybody has their own little opinions about, the things he says online and what he does in games. And I know EGldra personally. He's a good friend of mine. And to be honest, he doesn't care what people think. And not only that, he does what he wants when he feels like it, and he calls things the way he sees it. And in that game, he threw away a bunch of Mutalisks, and I honestly think he was just pissed off. And he left the game. And he can do that. That's up to him. He can do that.
It's his prerogative
if
he wants to leave the game or not.
He gets so much flack for doing stuff like that, and honestly, I think that's kind of what makes him awesome. And I think that was a prime example of EGldra just being awesome right there. And you know what? He probably goes into this next game thinking all right, we might have been even there. You might have had a slight advantage.
Yeah.
I don't even want to play that out. We're going to play this next game. I'm going to get an even bigger advantage, and I'm just going to beat you.
Yeah, fresh start too as well. And I think, you might be right. His rage almost fuels his drive to win and succeed. So it's kind of like you got to build up the rage inside. You got to really make him angry and make him into the Hulk, and then he crushes you, and then that's GG. So here we go. Game 3. It's on Tal'Darim Altar. Big map newly introduced in the GSL. And it's in the ladder pool now as well. Now, this map really, I think, is a good map for Zerg, especially if they spawn cross, which they haven't. But I think it's a very wide open map, really nice for Zerg to get a lot of expansions going. And we'll see what dSeleCT does this game. It doesn't look like he's going to open 2 racks, though.
One thing to note about the spawns is that the spawns are actually better for EGldra in this situation, as opposed to if they had spawned vice versa. If EGldra had spawned in the bottom left and dSeleCT had spawned in the top left, it makes it very easy as a Terran player to push down, and then you have access to the natural where you can siege behind the natural.
Right.
And that it's a directional kind of spawning deal.
Yeah.
So luckily, EGldra did not spawn in those positions, because that makes it very easy as a Terran player to do a really early Marine tank push.
Right.
Just use your medevacs to spot the high ground and just decimate the natural.
Yep.
But dSeleCT might try and do something similar to that with these positions, but it's still... Looks like we got a command center and a very early gas here coming from dSeleCT.
This is interesting.
Not dropping the command center at the standard location, but he's using his wall to deny the scouting.
Yeah.
It's going to keep EGldra guessing.
Yeah, EGldra absolutely right now is completely guessing. He has no idea what the heck dSeleCT is up to. This Overlord may actually get some good scouting in pretty soon, dependent on if the Marine comes out and is able to deflect the Overlord in time. dSeleCT actually throwing up a second gas now, and your guess is as good as mine as to what the heck dSeleCT is doing here.
I think he's probably going to open with some Blue Flame Hellions and try and get some map control, but I mean, you never know. He might tech straight to Banshees, might try and just get early weapons 1, early stim.
Well, the thing is, when a Terran gets this early command center, typically they don't get the double gas right away, so it's very peculiar. Now, he is getting the factory down. Yeah, you might be right. He might be going for Blue Flame Hellions. I would say your opinion definitely more qualified than mine is. Now, the Overlord has not spotted the gas, nor has it spotted the command center. That's huge. The Marine here was not able to deflect it, but it looks like EGldra is not going to be bold with this Overlord, and he's not going to sack it yet, which could cost him as the Hellions when the Hellions come out.
Yeah, and it looks like we got double factory going up here from dSeleCT. So, no doubt about it, dSeleCT is going to use the factory units as the main backbone of his army, just dropping 2 factories immediately, going to start getting that tank count up.
Right.
I'd love to see him get an early armory and start getting the +1 going for his mech, but his natural has been delayed by quite a bit here. He still hasn't lifted off that orbital to start floating over and take the natural, and I don't know if he's worried about a Baneling bust or if he's worried about some kind of aggression from EGldra right now, but nonetheless, dSeleCT playing very safe right now, very hesitant to take that expansion, and he's just going to continue to produce SCVs out of the second orbital in his main.
I think he's going to wait to fully saturate his main, which it's pretty much getting to full saturation here before he moves out. You're right. The thing here about Terran here is you can wall this off, this location, once you decide to grab your natural expansion.
Absolutely.
And it's actually really easy to do with your buildings because you can kind of lift off. I don't know if he's going to lift off these buildings and place them here. But yeah, you know, he can wall that off really easy. But right now, IGldra has 40 harvesters over 26. So IGdra's being allowed to macro up with no end in sight until Select decides to push out with these Hellions. And these Hellions are still going to be about a minute away before they attack.
Yeah, I don't really like this build from Select. I mean, it's not so much that I have a problem with the build. It's that on this map, I don't really think any of this is warranted. I don't think there is a specific reason that you shouldn't take your natural relatively fast on this map. I don't think there's a reason to delay your Blue Flame Hellions that much on this map, but regardless, he is moving out with these Blue Flame Hellions now, and he is, I'm not going to say it yet, but I don't think he's going to cancel his Blue Flame upgrade this time.
That would be pretty crazy if he decides to cancel. No.
Not going to do it. All right. So these are Blue Flame Hellions now, and they are going to try and get in and do some damage, but IGldra already has 2 Spine Crawlers. He has Queens in position to wall these Hellions off, and he has enough Lings in the back to prevent them from getting in, and it looks like he's going to try and go for it, but he's going to lose a ton of Hellions right here.
Oh my god! Great defense by IGldra! Holy crap! Round of applause, everybody! I know I could not do that.
That was really good. That was very well read and very well played by IGldra. He had the extra Queens. I mean, IGldra knew something was up. He probably thought it was either going to be Banshees or it was going to be Blue Flame Hellions. Right. In either case, having 2 extra Queens is going to help with either of those things. Yeah. IGldra, great read. Just getting the extra 2 Sunkens in front there, or Crawlers. Sorry, a little Brood War reference. And it looks like IGldra is going to go into macro mode now, pooping out Creep Tumors all over the front. Yeah. Going to start spreading those and really Select not doing any damage with that Blue Flame opener and delaying his Expo for so long, I think has put him in a terrible situation.
I have to absolutely agree with you right there, Pain User. IGldra certainly in a lot of trouble right now. He's struggling, or Select in a lot of trouble. IGdra's doing great. Select has now struggling to get his missile turrets up in the main and the natural. He does have an armory down, so I think we're going to see some Thors coming out. Yeah, first Thor on the way now. These Thors will be able to defend against Mutalisk pretty easily. But you're right, IGldra is looking great right now, and man, that defense was beautiful. And we've seen him do this before, just absolutely predict what the other player is going to do, and then just counter it straight up.
Yeah.
No questions asked.
And the crazy thing about Select's build here is really he has no infrastructure to speak of. I mean, he just has those 2 factories pumping units, and he's already adding his 3rd command center. So he is going to try and take a very aggressive 3rd with only 2 factories worth of production units. So, I mean, he's not going to have that bio backbone. And I really feel, and it looks like IGldra flying in a little bit too aggressive right there.
But nice little spread of his mutas. That's why only 2 mutas took damage rather than a whole group.
Yeah, he does keep his mutas spread very well. And quick reactions right there. Didn't fly in too far. Select trying to take this super aggressive 3rd, but I think it might be a mistake because if IGldra sees that he's trying to take that extremely aggressive 3rd and realizes, hey, he doesn't have any Raxes. He doesn't have that many Marines to speak of. Again, Select very, very late with the Stim and the Combat Shield upgrades once again.
Well, this is the first Tech Lab that has gone down on a barracks the entire game. So.
Yeah, and I don't think that that's helping him in any way in either of these games. He really needs to... in this matchup, you need to just be churning out those Marines almost all game long. Unless you're playing against somebody... you know, like Vibe or some of the other Zergs that really like to use that hard infester style, then I feel like getting tons of siege tanks and Thors and playing a more mech style is probably going to be to your benefit. But
here we go. Select coming out here, and you were talking about this. An early orbital command 3rd with no Marine support is very dangerous, and I think IGldra could actually take this party of Marines out.
He could have killed the command center as well, but he just wants to play it safe.
Yeah, he just wants to play safe. He was like, Stim might finish in like a second or something, or more Marines might come out, or a Thor or something, and he plays it safe. I mean, yeah, a little conservative, but hey, conservative can win the game, and IGldra, man, now has a 4th hatchery coming up. He is going crazy fast with the macro, and I don't know, Select is in some trouble.
Supply differential already 141 to 104 for Select. Yeah. IGldra just kind of running away with this right now.
4 reactors here. That's 8 barracks.
Lord. And he's adding them at such a late point in the game. I
Look
feel
how
like
much minerals he has.
Oh
though.
yeah, he is, and that's the thing about TVZ is you need to be constantly churning out those Marines as a mineral dump. It either needs to be that or Hellions.
Yeah.
One or the other, because you're not building Marauders all game. It's not the same. You don't have the same ratio of spending your minerals to gas, and the factory units are obviously very gas heavy.
Right.
And it takes a long time to produce them, so you need to be churning out those Marines all game long. And look at that, going up to 1,700, 1,800 minerals right now.
That's a crap ton of minerals that are being constructed right now. And EGldra here is going to actually fly in and pick off some of the SCVs at the natural expansion. Very nicely played by EGldra. EGldra is just doing great right now. And I honestly don't see how Select is going to maintain this game and at the end of the day win it. Now, I'm not exactly sure what Select is going to do, man.
I'm not sure either, and it looks like that is a scrap ton of mutas coming into the main right now, and they're going to be able to pick off a ton of those reinforcements. Select still just got stim, but doesn't have the combat shield upgrade, picking off 2 of those reactors, and that is really going to hurt his Marine production right now. And honestly, I don't see how Select is going to be able to secure a 4th base here.
Yeah, you're right. Now, EGldra actually went in here and just picked off 2 of the reactors off these 2 barracks. That's actually really, really smart. I like that because this slows down the Marine production by a ton. Now, Select is going to have to rebuild the reactors, which is going to cost time on the Marines to be produced, and everything is just going to slow down that much more. The nice thing, though, is Select finally grabbed control of the 3rd, and he looks like he's going to go for the 4th, but man, that's a big scrap ton of mutas that are flying across the map.
Yeah, that flock is getting a little out of control. But one thing that Select does have going for him is he's almost even on harvesters, which is pretty impressive. And he is walling in the proper places. He does have supply depot walls at his natural choke and at the 3rd, and he also has that walled with the command center there. So he is in a good position, but EGldra already has his hive tech. He is getting that greater spire. He's getting the adrenal glands on his Zerglings, neural parasite coming. I mean, he does have that far side expo going as well, and really Select just the name of these games, at least in game 2, the game where EGldra left.
How did he just do that?
He was just individually spreading them all with move. That
was really awesome.
It's beautiful, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was like watching a nice little orchestrated symphony of Mutalisks. That's nice because now the Mutalisks are spread out.
One thing that has been a huge problem for Select, I feel like, and this is the name of the game in games 1 and in game 3 that we're watching right now, is he really hasn't had any sort of offense.
Yeah.
He's just been waiting for that huge push, and it looks like he's actually trying to launch that right now.
Yeah, here comes the Terran player. Select is pushing out a little bit with his tanks and his Marines, but hey, look at the creep. It's already here, right on the doorstep of Select, so Select will have to drop some scans here to receive the creep a little bit, which it looks like he has already taken the liberty to do. If we look at some of these tabs here, Vikings being produced for Select, which means he is anticipating the Broodlord transition, and there we go, 5 Broodlords on the way, and I think these players are just kind of gearing up to one big battle at the center, and huge fungal growth going down on these Marines, really whittling them down. Dropships immediately healing them back up to full vitality, though. And wow, these 2 players starting to get to that point where a big collision's about to happen.
Yeah, and I think the timing is going to work out perfectly for EGldra here. These Broodlords finishing right as Select is making his big move. EGldra really active with those mutas on the right side of the map. I think he's just been trying to intercept drops, but looks like he's going to go in with these Broodlords here. Select stimming his Marines in, going to try and pick off some of those Broodlords, 2 of them going down immediately, and here we go.
Oh man, the Banelings coming in, and Fester's mind controlling the Thors at the front, and everything getting decimated for Select. Wow, EGldra could not have come ahead in that battle better than that, and even has a trophy Thor at the end of the day, which he decides to kill off as the neural parasite ends, and the only thing Select has got going for him now is possibly this backside drop, which on this big map, picking off 1 expo, I don't think is going to make much of a difference at all to EGldra.
Yeah, on this map, you just need to be dropping all over the place throughout the game, but Select being really aggressive with his Marines right here.
Nice.
Gonna pick off 2 more Broodlords and some of these Infestors, so that worked out real nice for Select. Super aggro move, though. I mean, I don't think EGldra was paying attention, to be honest.
That was a taunt right there. He just went in there and took off a ton of infestors and those broodlords. And the dropship here may have been what distracted Hydra, in fact, as it's now in the back of the mineral line. And believe it or not, if we look at the army tab, Select is right on the tail of Hydra, but Hydra's got a huge bank of minerals, man.
Yeah, he's starting to trust fund over here. He's going to be able to build a ton of Zerglings throughout the rest of the game, and he's going to continue to spend his gas on those heavy gas units like Infestors and Broodlords.
Yeah.
Going to continue to get those upgrades. And keep in mind, he still has this pack of mutas that he's kept alive all game long that he's going to be able to use in situations like this to prevent drops, to harass the fourth, and it's going to be a thorn in Select's side for the rest of this game until he can get rid of that muta pack.
Honestly, right now, Select is certainly in a lot of trouble. Hey, the Mutalisk once again coming into this planetary with only 2 turrets to defend. That means this is going to get ransacked almost immediately. Another dropship party getting loaded down and the Zerglings intercepting. And it looks like the Zerglings actually picking off all the Marines. And now more Marines coming in. It looks like Select saves his planetary fortress. That was really, really big because this is really one of the key points that Select needs to hold on to if he wants to win this game.
Yeah, absolutely. He needs to keep this fourth alive. It is so crucial for him right now. EGldra getting 6 more Broodlords, and it looks like he's going to push towards the natural with these Broodlords here. Select, I don't think has many Vikings left. He has 1 Viking on the field that I can see right now, and he's going to try and use that to kill all of those Broodlords, but I don't think it's going to work out for him. And EGldra just slowly constricting Select right now, expanding all over the map. He has creep everywhere, Overlord spreading creep at all of the other naturals, has vision of the entire map pretty much, Sunkens at all of his expansions, or Spine Crawler, sorry, at all of his expansions. So he's going to be able to hold those from any kind of drops, and all of his tanks just getting bombarded by Broodlords right now. And GG called.
Select good games out of this. EGldra once again allowed to run wild in this game, man, and it's kind of been the nature of these games so far. Is Select really getting dominated by EGldra minus game number 2? Select has really been getting...
wasn't necessarily Select dominating EGldra. It was just like a fluke.
It was just EGldra saying, I'm going to game 3, man. Screw it.
That was more like, I'm not dominating, so I'm leaving kind of a deal. You know what I'm saying, though? Like,
you are absolutely right.
That was so strange. He certainly hadn't lost that game.
Yeah.
We can both concur on that.
Yeah.
But he did win this one.
Yeah.
So we are going on to the next game.
And look at that scrap ton of Broodlords and Mutas, man. That was intense. Anyways, EGldra winning game 3, which means the pressure's now on Select to perform in game 4. If he loses, that's it. EGldra will advance forward to the grand finals. And wow, what a game. This was a super long macro game.
Yeah, absolutely. Tal'Darim really leans towards games like this. But anyway, stay tuned, guys. HD and Pain User signing out.